Greetings, family. As always, when you hear ZANU PF making noises in the streets, praising whatever that Mnangagwa is doing or whatever that they are planning as a foolish party, you might think that they are talking about things that are constructive. The recently well-announced issue about the alliance between China and Zimbabwe in terms of railways is a very bad deal. Hear it from me. This is a dummy that ZANU-PF is throwing at us, because we do understand what is really at play here. People must understand that Mnangagwa is in the business of making money in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa is making Zimbabwe his own small tuck shop, where he is making sure that whatever that is at his exposure, he can be able to use it for his gains. So ZANU-PF are just, and Varakashi, they are just parrots. They just quickly rush to sing. And as they sing, they don't even care to understand what kind of deal is this that is happening at this juncture. One of them is this one, this Madison, who says Zimbabwe and China have announced a partnership to refurbish and expand Zimbabwe's railway networks with China Railways International Group, a subsidiary of China's Railway Group Limited, and the National Railways of Zimbabwe. One thing that people must understand is that China is a bad partner. China is not an honest dealer. Whenever you deal with China, you are in trouble. I want to give an example of what happened in Kenya. Kenya also had an agreement with the same issue that we are seeing here. And in this agreement, China came and started doing these railway things and deals and things like that. And what China will do eventually is they will put in place measures to make sure that they are the ones that eventually run the show. You will find that these railways, whatever developments that would have been done, China will be putting its demands on it in terms of monies that they demand out of the project, to the point that you will find that whoever is partnering, whether it's a government, they will be having almost next to nothing. And China will be having the lion's share. And this is how China operates. I want to give you the example which happened in Zambia. The deals that China entered with Zambia ended up causing China to want to take over the airport of Zambia. I think people understand this story. For those that know the story that I'm talking about, you know it. China has many countries in Africa. It also happened in Angola. There are many countries in China, in Africa, where they entered into such kind of deals. But at the end of the day, you will find that the country that is responsible for inviting China will find themselves actually in a deficit, where China will end up even taking over the whole project, because they'll be saying that you are owing us so much. And now China will take and be able to tell you that we are going to be running these railways and collecting every revenue for the coming 60 years. China is able to do that. And such kind of agreements are done by rogue governments, and especially dictatorship governments. They do that because they simply want to benefit, so that even when they leave the power, they can still continue to enjoy the proceeds that are coming from that deal that they made when they were still in power. So people of Zimbabwe must be very careful, even those that are blind in ZANU-PF, who are just busy at hero worshipping Emmerson Mnangagwa without understanding in detail what really is happening and what is at stake. This is a bad deal, very bad deal. And we just have to pray that it does not succeed. Because in the event that it succeeds, I'm telling you, Zimbabwe will remain with no railways at all. Yes, we might enjoy to have those Chinese trains, that are faster, and the networks and everything. But the problem is, it will never be property that belongs to Zimbabwe anymore. It will remain Chinese property. And if they go and do that in many different sectors, you will find that eventually China will be running Zimbabwe as a business port of theirs. And that is what China has done. If you want, you can make a research about China and Chinese investments in African countries, and then go deeper into finding how they are sharing in terms of percentages and the outcomes, the agreements, the contractual agreements that these countries are entering into. You will find that most of them are just a big dummy. China has just been recolonizing Africa. Africa has been colonized, recolonized by China, while they think they are running away from the East and they are from the West, and they are saying now we have a look East policy. They are just running again into the hands of a worse-off colonizer. Because as of China, China will colonize you and will milk you dry. They don't reinvest anything. They don't lift up communities. They don't build towns. They don't build cities. They don't build roads, clinics, nor schools. How many schools belong to China right now that are in Zimbabwe? That you can say this is a school that was built by a Chinese company that was doing whatever that it was doing in that area. Zero. But when you look at other companies that used to be there, the conglomerate companies that used to be there, they've developed growth points, towns into cities that we have even today. ZANU-PF has not built even a single city in Zimbabwe. All the cities and the towns that we have are cities and towns that were built during the time of Ian Smith. All because they've started their Look East policy, where they are associating with a country that is bent on destroying, on benefiting. China is a bad partner when it comes to business. They are a bad partner. You don't need to deal with China. And I wish that the new government that comes must look into every detail of all the deals and the contracts that have been given to China. And those ones, some of them, majority of them, have to be revoked. Because definitely they are just a dummy. And nothing is going to be benefiting Zimbabwe. Nothing is going to be benefiting our nation. We really need sober leaders that are not just greedy for little cents. Mnangagwa does not care. He can give the whole railways to China and be told that he will be getting 10% while China gets 90%. He doesn't care. All he wants is, he knows that there will be millions that are coming to his direction. You can enjoy that money with his Mafidi dynasty and all his greedy children, and they can continue going on and on forever. So we really need to be fighting this colonization that is happening with China. This is why we need to demand for freedom in Zimbabwe. Our country must be freed from these countries, these vulture and predatory countries that are just coming to benefit from our nation, and yet taking our assets and leaving our country poor. We are not going to allow this to continue to happen. This is why change is needed in Zimbabwe. This is why we need new leaders in Zimbabwe. This is why we need to stand and demand for ZANU-PF to fall and Mnangagwa to go. Let me just put one or two comments from the family members. My sister Judith says, Veduwe Mnangagwa zvachatengesa nyika yese kuma China. The whole country is going. The whole lithium has been given to China. The whole tobacco is being run by China right now in Zimbabwe. And look at the chrome. Look at what is happening with granite. Granite is just being taken to China. Everything is just going China, 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 China. And this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And Chinese have to be kicked out of our country if at all we are going to start to see some Zimbabwe rising again. Gogostole, how are you? She says China is opportunist and our governments are not clever enough to detect any pitfalls because they do not use technical experts. Our leaders are ignorant of a lot of things, selfish lot. Indeed, they are very selfish. And many of these things, Gogostole, they see them and they know them. They read the contracts and they can see that this is not a fair deal. But because it's benefiting them, they will just say to themselves, as long as I have my 5% or 10% that I will enjoy for the coming 60 years, even my children that remain will continue enjoying that. So they don't care. They can as well just continue, proceed and sign those contracts. That's why we are saying we need to revisit all these and make sure that they are put to an end. So family, this is the issue that we had. I'm crossing over to the main channel, Chatufa Television Production. I have quite many stories that we are going to be touching. So stay tuned. I'm going to be coming right after. So thank you so much for joining me on the show. And always remember to subscribe, like, and to ring the bell so you can get notifications. Otherwise, family, thank you so much. Remain blessed.